Hi! This is my second YouTube video. So I tried to change the lighting. I decided to film in my studio today. I didn't want to give up the opportunity to do a video in front of my wall because it took 7 months to finish. So I had to pop it in here somewhere, right? So I even got a new mic. I don't know. We're seeing how this goes. It is what it is. Today I want to talk about different ways to make your photography better. All the things I'm going to talk about will enhance your photography skills. It's just different practices, things that you're not used to doing. I figure all of those will help in some way or another. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is angles. So with angles, it'd be either how your lighting angle changes or how your angle changes in relation to the subject, or how the subject's angle differs from you. So I would like to start with changing the angle as far as you in relation to the subject. So that means all the lighting is the same, everything's the same, it's just you moving your body all around to photograph different angles of the subject. A lot of us, when we're starting out, we like to shoot at eye level because that's our perspective, that's how we walk around. Even my 5'2" self has to walk around with my 5'2" eyes. I think that's our first mistake when we're starting to get into photography, is keeping it eye level. Like, instead of shooting at your eye level, you can take here's the thing. So you can take photos at that eye level, starting first relation to that subject. Just take your photos at your eye level, then crouch down and see how that changes the composition, and then stand up really high. Even getting a stool to go completely flatly like this over your subject and see how you like that. Turning your camera also can provide different angles. So for your different compositions. So then what we start to do is mix it up with going either to the right of it or to the left of it, or just 45 degrees. Because what I found a lot of the time is we don't normally look at things at 45-degree angle unless we're trying to squeeze in there to look at something. And I find that that's really interesting in photography because you're not used to seeing it all the time. Another way is, like, so you're shooting this way, now go behind the subject and shoot this way, and then do the top and then bottom and see what you think of that, because keeping the light source the same and you moving in relation to it, you get to see the different shadows bouncing off that object or person. I'd normally want you to start off with objects just because it's less factors to worry about. Because with humans, like, you want to make sure that you get the personality and they're happy and they're content. And some people might not want to sit there for hours while you experiment. But some may, so it's just about trying to figure out what angles do to your compositions. Not all those angles are going to work, and you're going to realize which ones you like as the creative, you know? The second thing with angles is changing the light. So what you could do is just change the light in relation to the subject. You keep your composition, you keep that angle that you start off with, either eye level or whichever one you actually prefer to shoot at, if you realize. So you just move the light. You can see what that does to the object. Tilt it a little bit to a 45-degree angle on the object and see how that light bouncing off makes a difference and normally creates long shadows, and you get to see different moods from lighting most of the time. That's what really is conveyed when you're changing light, is the feeling you get when you're doing it. You'll realize when you're controlling the light, like this with a lamp like I have right now. I have a ring light on. You try different angles to see what changes the subject. So different shadows, different highlights. Sometimes it's too bright and you don't like it. Sometimes it's too dark and it's too moody. Either you want to make sure that it's beautifully lit, like so bright you can see every detail on the thing, or you want it to be really like ominous and mysterious with keeping a lot of it in shadow and just having the little highlights. it depends on preference, but you get to see what that does when you keep moving the light. My third tip with all these angles, is going out in natural light. So whatever time of day, what I would probably suggest for this exercise is shooting at noon. That way you can see what that light from above does to objects, because when you're a portrait photographer, you want to stay away from that noon light, because you'll see like your eyebrow bone is pretty prominent in almost everybody, so it creates shade in your eyes. And normally as people, we love seeing each other's eyeballs, so as a portrait photographer, those are so important, our eyeballs. You want to see their emotion, you want to see that's where their true window to the soul is. I know it's cheesy, but that's the way I've always seen it. So yeah, as you go like maybe an hour or something, you'll be able to see what the light does too. It'll change on you, and working on what that looks like. A lot of the time, if it's really harsh light on my clients, it's beautiful, but it's burning their eyes, so we could switch around and then they get backlit, rim lit. So I'll show some pictures up here to tie everything together. You use a human being and you see what is most attractive on a human being. What kind of lighting do you like the most? And I would start with one light if you're controlling the light, or going outside, because it eliminates a lot of factors that you don't normally realize. And going outside gives you more options of what to see, different variables in taking photos outside that you don't realize until you actually do it. So to be more in control, do just one light source in wherever you are, and having a little bit less control, but it's a good practicing tool shooting outside. So angles, that's one of my top tips, is changing your angles. My second tip is learning from others. So whether it be, well, we'll start with different things first. So normally I love Instagram, I really do. Instagram and Pinterest, I've already mentioned Pinterest, but it gives you ideas of what you are attracted to. Look through your likes on Instagram. You get to see what you want to replicate, what kind of feeling are you attracted to, what mood in the photo. Start to pick like a few photos and write down what you think you're most attracted to in those photos. Is it the lighting? Is it the mood? Is it just the model being so beautiful? Is it the object itself? Is it the way it's lit? Is it the angle in which it is in? Is it the composition? Is it color? Doing those things, noticing what you're attracted to, is the biggest tip, because then you can try to start replicating it. So my second tip with this is Googling famous photographers. You can literally Google famous photographers and there'll be a list that pops up, and just click on people and you'll see what you're attracted to and what you aren't. What you admire in a photographer, what you don't really get, like what the hype is about. And that's just the way our eyes, that's what subjectivity does. And you can always like admire someone's work, or maybe not admire, but understand their importance of their work, rather than being inspired or attracted to their work. So I would do that. Google famous photographers. Try to follow them on Instagram if you can. If not, just add them to like a little list so you can reference them, and maybe screenshot some of their photos so you understand what is it, the subjects that they're taking photos. Are you attracted to landscape photography? Are you attracted to still life? Are you attracted to product photography? Are you interested in fashion? Are you interested in just portraits in general? You'll see all these different worlds that you haven't been exposed to before. Especially when you're beginning, and start replicating those photos. What I love to do, and you can do this too, is find the photographer and get to know their work a little bit, and then go out and try to shoot in their style. So the way that they compose images, the angle in which they use to compose those images. What are they normally looking for in their photographs? What are they capturing? Is it certain patterns? Is it line? Is it light? What are they trying to convey, and what are they noticing? it's so cool to see how other people see. It feels so weird at first. You're like, this is not how I shoot. But it's a good thing because you're learning, and you're learning what other people have done before you, or things that you just didn't think about doing before. And when you photograph in someone else's perspective, you get to see what points out to them. What are they most attracted to? And you're going after that instead of what you're normally attracted to. And it's fascinating. There's no other way to really like walk in someone else's shoes, but I feel like with visuals, we're very visual people as human beings. That's our strongest sense. So I think using that as a way to step in someone else's shoes is magical. It's amazing. It's so strange. But doing that every now and then to see what it's like and explore different avenues is fascinating. I love it. And I encourage whether it's a beginner or a professional to do that when they can, because it's awesome. So my third tip with just learning from others is going and actually asking professionals. So go to your professors that you really, a lot of people want to see others grow. When they're comfortable in their own skill, they'll feel comfortable to share that with others. I found that. If you have any questions for me anytime, DM me. I have my info in the description box, so that if you have any questions, you can ask me and I can give them to you. I'm not so seasoned that I'll know everything, but I can certainly help. So yeah, talk to other business owners, talk to other just photographers. Even if I know that Skillshare is a great resource, I'll leave other learning resources below because there's another one that I just can't remember right now. That's fantastic for photography. So yeah, I'll teach you about that too. My last tip for this is go to either professor or your peers or whatever, someone that is less biased to you though, and have them analyze your work. So you have some stuff going for you that you're photographing that you find are interesting and that you like and you're proud of, and go get them critiqued. I would suggest going to a professional, going to a business person, an entrepreneur, or a professor, and be like, can you be real about my work? What should I be looking to improve? What are things that I have down? What do you think is interesting in my work? Stuff like this. Getting critiques on your work is some of the hardest things you're ever going to do, because you're putting yourself out there, you're putting your art out there to get judged. And the fact that in everyday life you're going to be judged anyway, and a lot of people have a hard time with that anyway. Being that vulnerable is really difficult, but I know that there are so many more rewards for doing that than not, because if you're just comfortable in your own head and being like, I love this, look, I'm so good, if you get your ego up and then you realize, shit, I don't think my work is good enough and I'm stagnant and I want my work to grow. So in order to make sure that happens, go to somebody and ask what their opinion is. Another great and very scary way of doing it is posting on social media, because then you're going to get anyone's opinions on you, but it is what it is. So that's my last tip for learning from others. Now the third category and the last category and the most important category in my opinion is practice. Duh. I mean, that's with everything. It just it's one of those obvious things, but not everyone will do it. Everyone is kind of like, either you're born doing something, you're born with a skill, or you're never going to have that skill, and that's just not the case. Fostering something, it's just not everyone has that quote-unquote skill, a born skill that people talk about. It's a lot of the time earned, and even the people that do have that innate talent will get worse or behind if they never work on it, if they never practice, if they never try. So practice. You're going to take more photos that you hate rather than you love. For every 20 photos, one photo you'll fall in love with, and that just is what it is. As you become more advanced, that happens a lot less. It gets really hard to choose, especially being a portrait photographer, I take a bunch of photos. I go back and edit, and then I'm like, I don't know which ones to keep because all of them are in focus. No, there's no blinks. It's really good. And you just get really picky from then on. But when you're starting out in particular, you're going to take more shit photos than good photos. And it is what it is. You're not a failure. It's not like a huge downfall. That's the nature of the game. You start to learn what you like and what you don't like and what works and doesn't work. Because if you're afraid to even try what doesn't work, you're never going to learn from it. That's like in life as well. So don't be afraid to fail. Especially with digital now, it's so easy to take thousands of photos. Take advantage of that, because with back in the day with film, you're wasting money with film by doing all these crazy things and not sure if things are going to work. But with digital, you have that privilege of exploring everything and not having to worry about space and money. So yeah, and time, because the processing film is literally my least favorite thing in the planet. So yeah. My last thing for practice is looking at photo challenges. You can do it for a month. A good time to do photo challenges, at least for me, is October. It's when Inktober is for artists, hand artists. Us photographers, we don't get that sort of love, so what I normally do is do like some sort of October photo challenge. You don't have to share it on social media. You can do it just for you, and you can realize again what you're interested in, what techniques have you not brushed up on in a while, or something that you've never tried before. This again for people that are just starting out, and then people that are more advanced. Photo challenges are awesome. It really breaks you out of your comfort zone. It gets you thinking, it gets you shooting every day, so it's really great practice. I enjoy it a lot. I can't say I finished a whole month yet because things get in the way. I tried it in college, and that's when I had a lot of work to do on top of it, so it was hard to keep up with. But I'm gonna probably shoot a photo challenge week on my YouTube coming up, so look forward to that. So yeah, those are the things. Angles, learning from others, and practice. It's just those three things really, again with my triangles, those three things really are like what you need to get better. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe, like, ring the notification bell. I really appreciate you being here with me. And if you have any questions, comment down below. If you want to talk to me more directly, you can DM me or message me on these things that are down in my description box. Don't forget to look at Skillshare and the other one I'm going to link down below. Yeah, so, oh, by the way, just in general, know that you can do this without a camera. Cameras make everything better. I love my digital camera. It changes my life. I don't get the same effects that I do with my phone. You don't need a camera to start out. All these things you can do with your phone just to start learning and figuring it out, and then you can invest in something like a camera, because I know they ain't cheap, but it's important, especially once you want to become a professional. You need a DSLR. You need a professional camera. So I think that's it. So thank you for being here. See you in the next one. Bye.